calling upon your private sector experience and years of work at Microsoft, the Chamber of Commerce trying to engage in fostering economic development. What do you see the Chamber's role or the private-public partnerships that come together to foster innovation? Do you see a role for that?
That is very bipartisan in terms of helping raise awareness. We don't have a lot of technology people in Congress, and so one of the basic things that we need to do is help people be educated on how technology works, what's there, where it's headed, what some of the challenges and opportunities are. I helped start a caucus called the Internet of Things Caucus, along with Congressman Issa from Southern California, as you know, to basically help educate lawmakers on what the Internet of Things is, what it means, this idea of new devices and the impacts that they may have going forward, to help educate members of Congress, to help inform them when we look at policy. So that's one critical area, is how do we inform members of Congress so they know the impacts policy might have, whether areas that you need policy and areas where you may not need policy, and how to work that. But I'd say one of the basic things in terms of helping foster this is investments in basic research. The internet really came out of investments that we made in basic research. And we have had incredible advancements in life sciences as well as in other areas of technology because we invested in the NSF or NIH or other places where basic research was done. And all of you know, and great institutions that we have here in Northern California as well as across our country who've done incredible research that created a foundation for a lot of innovation. And there's no surprise that a lot of the innovation here came out of great work happening in universities like Stanford, et cetera, who kind of fostered that. And one of the businesses I ran, a startup company, came out of the University of Washington Computer Science Department. Great research that turned into innovation, that turned into business and economic development. Somehow saving us money, I think that's definitely fallacy, because sometimes by not investing, you're costing yourself more money in the future. And one place is basic research, where we get a great return. We've seen that return over decades. We start cutting dollars. You may not see instantly the loss of kind of results because you're still living off of those prior investments. But we know these are areas that are impacting innovation and new projects. Education also critical because we know that those innovations are coming from great students, and sometimes those are students from overseas as well. That's the issue of immigration reform and letting people do research actually stay and start businesses here in the United States. But part of it is education, all the way from early learning and through higher ed, to make sure that students have the best skills possible and are able to help be innovative and have those creative skills so they're able to help build the workforces that we need in these new areas. And so that's another area where policy is also critically important. And then we need to understand kind of that technology isn't just a nice to have anymore, it's actually basic infrastructure. So when we talk about roads and bridges, et cetera, we should also be talking about technology, because that's, if we start thinking about healthcare and how, we might have sensors, you might have your watch, which is, checking your heart rate, or you might have another sensor depending on what type of, disease or condition you might have, that's conveying information to your doctor, and what are the privacy implications of that? What are the security implications of that? What are the interoperability issues of that? So there's a lot of opportunity there to make sure that we do a good job laying the policy framework, but it also means that we need to realize that the investments in technology are critical, especially if we're going to be concerned about people's information being protected, and that we know that all the work is being done that's possible to prevent prevent hackers from coming in and acquiring data. And you see that now, and a lot of it is because we have technology that's out of date. We have people haven't invested in infrastructure in technology infrastructure. Businesses haven't in the same way they might have in other areas, and I think that's something that's going to change over time. But another thing that's going to be critically important: how do we know if you are doing the best job possible at protecting information versus leaving the doors wide open? And how do you as consumers know that? So these are all going to be important areas. and they're going to change frequently, which is why getting Congress to be functional is important, because what policy, even well-intended policy that worked for a while, may not be the right policy that we need going forward, and we need to be able to learn and adapt and change policy as necessary, and that's something that we struggle with right now because we don't move very fast.